Welcome to Box Football, guys, and we got some big news to talk about. But before we get into that, I'm just gonna ask you guys, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Let's grow this channel and let's get this channel to where it deserves to be. So let's leave that now and let's talk about the main bit of news right now. And to me, I've seen players shoot themselves in the foot, but not to this instance. And let's talk about Chelsea and their record signing Romelu Lukaku and his comments that were made 3 weeks ago, but it's coming out now as he's on a decent stretch with Chelsea after scoring in back-to-back games. But Jack, would you just elaborate on some of the comments he said to Sky Italia?
So I think first of all, it's very, very telling that he spoke to Sky Italia, right? I just think, like, if you're gonna try and have like some sort of a biased person to speak with, and you're talking very positively about Italian football, the people you want to talk with are Sky Italia. This wasn't an interview with the BBC or Sky Sports in the UK or BT or anything like this. This was Sky Italia. And just kind of the first quotes, these are all from Fabrizio Romano. So in terms of the source of these news, we're not misquoting here. We're talking about the great man himself, Fabrizio Romano. So first of all, physically, I'm fine, but I'm not happy with the situation at Chelsea. Tuchel has chosen to play with another system. I won't give up. I'll be professional. I'm not happy with the situation, but I am professional, and I can't give up now. I think everything that happened last summer was not supposed to happen like this. How I left Inter, the way I left the club, how I communicated with Inter fans, this bothers me because it was not the right time. Now it's the right time to share my feelings. Questionable there. I have always said that I have Inter in my heart. I know I will return to Inter. I really hope so. I'm in love with Italy. This is the right moment to talk and let people know what really happened. So James, what I want to say first of all, we don't get enough of this, in my opinion, in football, right? We don't get how often do we get somebody's media team has just written a response and you just put it out there and it's super diplomatic and it's boring and you can basically just throw it out because there's nothing to talk about with a lot of these public statements. I think he's being honest here. I do. I don't, there is no insincerity or him being disingenuous at any point in any of these comments. So what I'd like to say, first of all, you said shoot himself in the foot. We can debate that and talk about that. I'd first of all like to say, I respect the fact that I think he's being honest, even though it's probably not the right thing to do, and he shot himself in the foot. I respect the honesty. Do you agree with that, or do you kind of think,
Jack,
man,
you know
you
what?
shouldn't have said it at all?
From the parts you've read out, I don't think there's more. That's the thing about it. This first part isn't too bad, Jack. It's not like, oh, it's damning and he's destroyed himself there. That's not too bad. If you just say, okay, I'm not happy with what's going on with the system. I prefer this and that. Players can say that. Now, it's not the greatest thing to say, but you won't get crucified by the club and also the fans. Now, what he says after, Jack, I want you to elaborate on. I want you to read out. That's where everything has a bit of a twist for me.
Right. So I'll go through kind of the rest of it here, and I know that you guys don't want to just hear me mention these quotes, so I'll try and get through it as quickly as I can. I really hope from the bottom of my heart to return to Inter, not at the end of my career, but when I'm still at the top level to win more together. I want to apologise to the Inter fans. The timing of my words was wrong. What you did for me will remain with me forever. So immediately, I think what I would not like if I'm being Tuchel or if I'm being the Chelsea hierarchy, you're immediately putting Inter fans above Chelsea fans, right? You're immediately doing that. Now, if you're Chelsea fans, right, now all you care about is winners. And people who come to your club, you just want winners. And this is a guy who went to West Brom on loan and then wanted to come back to Chelsea and fight, and then went to Everton, but wanted to come back to Chelsea and fight. It was Chelsea's decision to let him go to Everton. But it was Lukaku's decision to then go to Manchester United, which is a rival of Chelsea's, right? Not necessarily the biggest rival, but definitely up there. They've been competing for Premier Leagues over the last 20 or so years, like pretty consistently. I think the problem with this is Chelsea have given you a lot. Whether it's selling you or allowing you to go on loan and show yourselves, paying all that money to bring you back. And you're immediately spitting in the faces of the fans by saying that Inter Milan fans, who you didn't spend that much time with, are already way better than Chelsea fans. It's not a good look from a PR point of view. I get that. I respect the honesty. I really, really respect the honesty.
Jack, there's a little bit more there. If you just comment, if you just read that bit out, then I'll kind of give my opinion on it.
So I've got some stuff about Tuchel, Lukaku. Tuchel and I are trying to find a tactical system where we can find each other a way to help the team because of the situation is a bit complicated. He made his choice. I keep working. At a certain point, I'll speak with Tuchel and we'll see about the situation. I'm always thinking about Milano. Inter fans are the best in the world. I love the city, and the best moment of my career was at Inter. I'm in love with Italy. I have Inter in my heart. Why was the honeymoon with Inter over? I've been a supporter of Chelsea since I was a kid. It's my favorite team. Doesn't that sounds like a lie? That sounds like the first lie, by the way.
No. But the thing about it, I think he did support Chelsea as a kid. That's actually true. He did support.
I miss Lautaro Martinez. I could die on the pitch for him since day one I met him. Lautaro Martinez coming here with me at Chelsea in the future? No, Lautaro. You can stay in Milan. I'll be back there. And then he laughs.
Do you know what it is? I just feel like Lukaku has so much unfinished business at Chelsea. He has so much to prove, not just to himself, but to Chelsea fans. Or why did you sell me in like the first place? And bear in mind, he's had 3 opportunities where he went to Chelsea. He could have went to Chelsea the second time, decided to go to Manchester United, and now he's back at Chelsea. Right? He has an opportunity to edge himself next to players like Diego Costa, like Didier Drogba. Right. By him making these sort of comments, it almost feels like Chelsea's an afterthought to him. And his heart is already in Inter Milan, and him and like he just being here for just a certain amount of time till he can go back to Inter Milan.
Sorry.
These are not great comments, and to me, the worst part about it is the timing of these comments.
Right.
If it would have came out 3 weeks ago when Chelsea were on a high, I think it could have been balanced. But the fact that Chelsea right now, so many injuries, so many COVID problems, and now he's just been dropped for the Liverpool game. I don't know where this is going to go long term, because I don't think Chelsea can sell him in January. But the question is, even in the summer, but Jack, in the summer, who is really going to pay all that money for Romelu Lukaku? Granted, he's a top quality striker, but Chelsea were really the only side that maybe a Bayern Munich, but
James, here's what you have to think about too, right? And you and I spoke about this. You know, I think you were a little higher on Lukaku to Chelsea than I was, right?
I'm a massive fan of Romelu Lukaku. Massive fan of Romelu Lukaku.
Same, but I'm a fan of Romelu Lukaku in a 3-5-2 under Antonio Conte with Hakimi and Lautaro Martinez and Nicolo Barella. Like, he has no idea how good he had it at Inter. Now, this is one of my problems with it though, James. If he wants to go back to Inter, this is not the same Inter team, right? This is Simone Inzaghi. Hakimi's not there. You've got to fight for time with Edin Dzeko, right? Who is playing pretty well. He's got a new kind of lease of life at Inter and he seems motivated and refreshed. But obviously his age is not going to be there forever. But if he thinks he's going to go back and this is going to be it again and everything's going to be good, you're telling me Nicolo Barella is going to still be at Inter in the next couple of years? Sensi is still going to be there? I'm not so sure. Brozovic's contract is up pretty soon. If he goes back, James, the grass isn't always greener. And I think it might happen twice for Lukaku. He had it great at Inter. He went to Chelsea. Grass wasn't greener. If he somehow manages to find his way back to Inter, when are we going to have an interview with Sky England about, I still think of Chelsea. I still think of the Chelsea fans. Because seriously, they're not the same proposition anymore. They're not.
Jack, to me, the biggest thing for Lukaku here is that I don't even think the team is that much of a problem, because I think the boys are going to accept him back. I think it's the reaction of Chelsea fans, because my brother's a Chelsea fan. I listen to a lot of Chelsea fans, and the reaction is not great, Jack. I can't imagine his next game for Chelsea. Do you really think that they're going to cheer him? Do you really think that they're going to want him over a player like a Timo Werner, regardless of the goals he brings? The only way Romelu Lukaku can save himself from Chelsea fans if he wins them something like a Premier League or a Champions League, and even then it's still going to be sour because what he did in the first place.
Is he going to be booed at Stamford Bridge? I think so. I
don't even think it's a question. Of course he's going to get booed, but the question is like, how long can he stay to the point where it like he almost can't do anything anymore. Because Jack, them boos are not going to be a section of the crowd. Jack, I think he touches the ball,
And
everybody's
it will
going to do it.
spread. It will spread. The people who maybe weren't booing him as well,
You know,
and were
but
kind of on the fence, are going to join in. That's going to be the problem too.
because to me is that I feel like his comments in the summer were saying, "Oh, I was always thinking about Chelsea. I love Chelsea," in the whole Didier Drogba stuff, and Didier Drogba's his guy, all that sort of stuff. There, Chelsea fans loved that. They grew raw. We can get a Drogba type player back there, and the fact that he does this, they're gonna look at him like.
I think the
he can
problem
run.
here as well, James, is what's his end goal, and what's the most constructive and objective way of getting to the end goal? Because here's the thing. If I'm Romelu Lukaku and I cost £93 million and I'm on loads of money and I'm a big deal and I'm a great player and I've just come off being an MVP, potentially even a Ballon d'Or like level nominee from how he played at Inter, right? Privately, if you come to Thomas Tuchel and you say, hey, look, we've talked about this very, very briefly, but I want to make myself kind of very clear here. I appreciate the way you want to play your football. I appreciate that the start to the season's been okay, right? You're still there or thereabouts within the top four. Good run of games. You might be back in the title race. You know, who knows, right? We saw the City against Arsenal game, right? That could have gone another way, and the gap closes, all this kind of stuff. But I want to play in this team, and I want to be the best for this team. And the way you're doing it right now isn't allowing me to do that. Tuchel might think privately, I respect the fact he's come to me. I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to see what can happen, and maybe we'll figure something out, right? What he's done now is he's put Tuchel in the limelight, and he's gone, hey, you're either a bitch and you continue to play me and you bend the knee to my demands, and you're no manager at all your credibility goes, or you're without me, a £93 million top football player and striker. He's making Tuchel do that. I respect the honesty. I stand by that. I would much rather players talk like he's talked here, for me as a fan, than other way. But if I'm part of the setup, I'm fuming right now.
But Jack, the argument against Lukaku is that, let's be honest, Jack, when he wasn't playing, Chelsea were winning. Chelsea were winning heavily. You know, and if Chelsea were losing, I would get it. But Chelsea were scoring 4 against Newcastle. They were listen. They were going away and beating teams very, very easy, scoring goals. Granted, it wasn't from attacking force; it was from defensive forces like Reece James and Thiago Silva. But they were still winning games. They beat Juventus 4-0 at home. But to me, the biggest thing for this whole Lukaku thing is that this might have jeopardized this Chelsea season, because there will be a time. Let's just say it's not more game. It's not one game. It's more than a game. He got dropped for one of the most important games today against Liverpool. Now, is he going to continue like being dropped? Are Chelsea not going to be able to call on their Are Chelsea not going to be able to call on the player who scores the most goals for them? Jack, that is a big thing. And overall, for me, for the rest of the season, Chelsea's season is in complete jeopardy, because you look at the next 8 games. They have Tottenham in the League Cup. They got Liverpool today. They got Man City coming up. In and around that, they probably have a Champions League game. So many crucial games. And if Lukaku's not involved, especially with all these injuries, it's going to hurt Chelsea big time.
But James, a split opinion player as well, somebody like Timo Werner. You want to try and take an opportunity to endear yourself to the people who are a bit still unsure on you. How about you take the place of your biggest ever signing? And how about you score some goals and you play your best football and you're a hard worker? You know, me and Timmy have always joked, the thing about England and being British is we'd much rather have a player who's not very good, who tries really hard, than a player who's actually not that bad but doesn't try that hard, right? Timo Werner can be that guy. He can fill those shoes and endear himself to the fan base. If you're then rooting for a player to succeed and the guy's actually doing okay, is that going to be Timo Werner or is that going to be Romelu Lukaku? Because I think it's going to be Timo Werner, because when these comments were happening with Timo Werner said, it's me, I'm the problem, I need to step my game up, I need to change. Lukaku is saying, you guys need to change around me. And again, I respect and I appreciate the honesty, but what is the end game here? Because I look at the transfer market, James, and I look at elite level strikers. I look at Edinson Cavani, who's going to be on a free contract next summer, who still has some juice and can still go. We've just talked about Anthony Martial wanting to go in a recent video. Guys, go check that out. Kylian Mbappe is going to be a free contract, ready to negotiate player. Erling Haaland's release clause is available. Dusan Vlahovic is going to be available for around 70 million euros, which is less than Lukaku would cost. Where's Lukaku on the pecking order for elite strikers now for other clubs around Europe? He's not going to me, he doesn't crack the top 3 of any of them at the moment.
Jack, let's leave it all to Chelsea fans. Chelsea fans, tell me what you think right now. Has Lukaku ruined Chelsea's season? Can he come back? Can he save Chelsea this season? Let us know. Are you going to accept him? Should he go? Comment down below. Let us know all your feelings. Like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.